Transforming formulas. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to answer, how do I solve a literal equation for a specific variable? So let's establish what this word literal equation means. It's simply an equation in which the letters are used to replace the coefficients and constants of another equation. Kind of a simpler way of thinking of it is, it's just a formula, such as area equals length times width. Or perhaps I should say formulas are examples of literal equations. There's lots of formulas that you encounter. The perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times length plus 2 times width. We've got more than one variable. All right. Now, the process for solving literal equations is the same as the process for solving numeric equations. So the example over here on the right is a literal equation. We're solving it for x, which means our goal is to get x all by itself. I find that students are very confused by the one on the right because there's no numbers. So I've made the one on the left mirror the one on the right. Notice that I've just used numbers like 4, 8, and 32 instead of the values a, b, c, and d. My goal is to get x by itself. So I think that you would be able to tell me that we would need to subtract 8 on each side in the equation on the left, which would result in 4x equals 32 minus 8 would be 24. The same idea needs to be done on this one. We need to get rid of this BC first. So what I'm going to do is subtract BC from each side. This leaves me with AX equals, now I don't know what D minus BC is. Like in the other problem, I know 32 minus 8, so I just write D minus BC. In the one on the left, I would divide by 4, which would result in x equals 24 divided by 4, which would be 6. Same idea over here. I need to divide by a. I don't know what a is, however, I'm just left with x equals whatever d minus bc, all divided by a is equal to. This literal equation is solved for x. Now, in example 1 on your note guide, it says the area of a triangle is given by area equals 1/2 base times height. Solve the formula for the height. So, let me just enlarge this a bit. I'm going to recopy this. Area equals 1/2 b times h. Whenever I have a fractional coefficient, it's my personal choice. I like to get rid of that first. So this 1/2 is held by multiplication, so the inverse would be to divide each side by 1/2, but remember that that is equivalent to multiplying both sides by the reciprocal, which would be multiply both sides by 2. This results in 2a equals b times h, because 1/2 times 2 is just 1. Now, to get h by itself, I need to divide each side by b, because b times h is held by multiplication. This gives me an answer of h equals 2a all over b. Part B asks you to use the rewritten formula to find the height of a triangle which has a base of 14 meters and an area of 64.4 square meters. So the whole point of rewriting these formulas is so that you can easily calculate, especially if you're doing a lot of calculations to find the height. It would be advantageous to have it rewritten where h is isolated. So all I'm doing is I'm substituting in my given values. I'm plugging in 64.4 for a, and the base is 14. Now, I simply do 2 times 64.4 would be 128.8 divided by 14 will result in a solution of 9.2 meters for the height. Example 2 says to rewrite the temperature formula so that F is a function of C. Now, what this is really telling you to do is solve this formula for F. So, to do this, again, I have 5/9 out front. I want to get rid of that first, so it's held by multiplication, so rather than dividing, I'm going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 9/5. 9/5. Now, that results in 9/5 C is equal to 5/9 times 9/5 will cancel. It's equal to Fahrenheit, or F, minus 32. Now, to isolate F, if I just add 32 to each side, do the inverse operation, that results in 9/5 C plus 32 is equal to F. Now, F is written as a function of C. Sometimes students like to rewrite it so that F is on the left side, which I'll do for the second part. The second part says that the Weather Channel app says that the highest temperature in Toronto, Canada is 22 degrees Celsius. What is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? Well, if we just take our formula from part A, which was F equals 9/5 times degrees Celsius plus 32, and plug in our given information, which is 22, we'll be able to calculate the degrees Fahrenheit. This results in 71.6. So 22 degrees Celsius is the same as 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. In example 3, we're told that the formula to calculate the volume of a rectangular prism is volume equals length times width times height. We're told to solve this formula for W. Now, in this problem, length, width, and height are all held by multiplication. So, to get rid of them, I'm going to divide, and I can do this all in one step. I want to get rid of the length and the height, so I'm going to divide both sides by length times height. That's going to cancel. L divided by L and H divided by H would both be 1, so I'd be left with W equals the volume divided by the length times the height. In example 4, you're asked to write y as a function of x. These directions mean to solve for y and get everything else on the opposite side. So to do this, in number 4, I'm first going to get rid of the 3x. So I need to subtract 3x from both sides, which results in positive 2y is equal to, I'm going to put my negative 3x first, and since the 8 is positive, I will write plus 8. I could write 8 minus 3x, but it's good if you can get in the habit of putting your variable first and your constant second. Next, I'm going to divide each side by 2. Now, I can show it as dividing this entire side by 2, or you can also show it as you're dividing each separate term by 2. I'm going to do it the second way and write this as negative 3 divided by 2 would be negative 3 halves x plus 4. Y is now written as a function of x. I'm going to do the same thing in number 5. I'm going to subtract 8x from each side, which will result in negative 8y equals, again, variable first, negative 8x plus 5. I'm going to then divide everything by negative 8. I'm going to divide each term separately on the right. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 is positive y equals positive 1x minus 5/8. In number 6, I'm going to start by subtracting 2 from each side, which results in 6y equals 3x plus 2. Notice that the 4 and the 2 are like terms, so I can combine those. Next, I'm going to divide everything by 6, which results in y equals 1/2, because 3 over 6 reduces to 1/2, plus 1/3, 1/2 x plus 1/3. So y is now written as a function of x. You should now be able to solve literal equations for any indicated variable.